Sule! While we wait with anticipation spreading all around us for the release of the Cosmere RPG and the bucket loads of lore that we're gonna get with it, let's talk about the Knights Radiant. We're not gonna go too deep into lore or theory here, but instead, we're gonna go over all 10 orders of the Radiants. Who are they? What spren they bond? What ideals drive them? What their surges do? And finally pick our favorite knight from each order. If you didn't pick up on it already, yeah, there's gonna be spoilers for the entirety of the Stormlight Archive. Okay, bye.
Let's start with the Skybreakers. The Skybreakers are the police of the Knights Radiant. Their ideals all revolve around the idea, I will seek justice. This leads them to being somewhat stern, or at least their patron herald Nail is. He's actually a member of their order, and he's reached the 5th ideal, where he literally becomes the law himself. Skybreakers bond high spren, and their armor spren are likely gravitation spren, but this is technically unconfirmed in the fiction. Bonding to a high spren will eventually give a Skybreaker access to 2 surges, gravitation and division. Gravitation is their primary surge, and is shared with the Windrunners, and division is their secondary surge shared with the Dustbringers. Gravitation allows them to change gravity for themselves or other objects and creatures. Szeth used this to throw his victims into the sky with no safe way down. Splat. The more common use of this allows a Skybreaker to change their own gravity and fly. They do have to watch their Stormlight levels though. We will go over division with the Dustbringers. My favorite Skybreaker is Nail. He's 5th ideal and a herald, which makes him terrifyingly dangerous. He also allows Szeth to follow his own path as a Skybreaker, swearing to Dalinar in his 3rd ideal. Nail then chooses to side with Odium in the war for Roshar, believing the land to rightfully belong to the Singers. Kind of sweet if you don't think about them helping Moesh slaughter Windrunners. This shows some serious depth to a notably troubled man. Up next,
the Dustbringers. Maybe the most destructive Radiants? Brandon Sanderson himself considers them to be the artillery of the Radiants. They're basically your AoE specialists. Yeah, Releaser is just kind of a stupid name. I mean, what are you releasing? Dust? Dustbringer oaths are focused on self-mastery, and this revolves around properly channeling their destructive powers. Their herald is Shanna, and she is the spitting image of destruction. I mean, look what she nearly did to Shallan. Dustbringers form their Nahel bond with Ash Spren, and their plate spren are Flame Spren. This was made canon through playing cards. Man, fact-checking the Cosmere can be really hard sometimes, bro. Their bond to Ash Spren gives them access to their primary Surge division and also the Surge of Abrasion, which is shared with the Edgedancers. Yeah, so let's talk about division real quick. It's kind of insane. With proper ideals and training, a Dustbringer can set an entire area of land aflame. They can break objects down to their very axis, making them dust, hence Dustbringer. Their usage on living creatures, well, we haven't really seen it used, but it's supposedly terrifying. Division is incredibly powerful when backed up by their ideals that require the mastery of their powers, and the ability to slip and slide across the battlefield when using Abrasion. My favorite Dustbringer is Ralna, the king of Raluna, because he didn't immediately start twirling his mustache when forming his bond. Okay, let's move on to
Edgedancers. That's right, the slipperiest of the Radiants are actually one of the coolest. Edgedancers often acted as battlefield medics during the Desolations. Their ideals focus on remembering the little guy, which fits the role well. They seek out the hurt and left behind and allow them to progress. Their herald is Videl, the herald who was responsible for granting each of the heralds immortality through the Oath Pact. I guess she remembered the big guy? Edgedancers bond cultivation spren. Yes, that cultivation. Interestingly, spren are made up entirely of cultivation and have no piece of honor in them, so this may help us clue into what the intent of cultivation really is. Their armor spren are life spren. A bond to a cultivation spren gives the Edgedancers abrasion and progression. Their primary surge, Abrasion, allows an Edgedancer to manipulate friction in some cool ways. They can slide across any surface with speed and ease if they reduce the friction of their feet, and they can also make themselves extremely slippery. This makes them nearly impossible to grapple. The surge also works the other way, making surfaces more grippy. This can allow an Edgedancer to climb up difficult surfaces or maintain a perfect grip on an item or person. Spider-Man! Basically, fighting one would be a nightmare. They share progression with Truthwatchers, so we'll cover it there. Lift is not my favorite Edgedancer. Lift is not my favorite anything, but she is super notable. Cultivation gave her a special bond with her cultivation spren Windle that allows her to use Lifelight. This light is of cultivation alone and comes from eating rather than a freak cloud spren with a temper. Lift actually can't use Stormlight at all, which leads us back to the whole only of cultivation, not of honor thingy. But we believe this bond is unique to Lift alone, not the other Edgedancers. Okay, now the weirdo's turn. It's
Truthwatchers. Truthwatchers. Ja-Anat's favorite order to mess with. Truthwatchers are the historians and philosophers of the Knights Radiant. They really aren't all that combat focused at all, which is reflected by their powers. Their ideals surround the idea, I will seek truth. This leads them to many great debates and also a lot of innovation. Their herald is Prala, and that's all we know about her. No, seriously, we've seen her only once at the end of book 5, and that's all. Probably, maybe? Truthwatchers bond Mist Spren, and their armor Spren are concentration Spren. Their Nahel bond with the Mist Spren gives them access to progression and illumination. Progression is their primary surge, and it allows for them to progress the natural healing of living creatures. This can heal wounds, reform severed limbs, and even fix Shardblade wounds. This is dependent on the recency and severity of the wound, but Truthwatchers are very good at this. With Edgedancers, the surge can also cause growth in plants, but we haven't really seen that with this order. My favorite Truthwatcher is Yim, because he made shoes for children.
What?
Now on to the annoying order.
Lightweavers. Wait, what? Lightweavers hold a special place in my heart, as it's both my personal order and the most mentally unstable order. Checks out. The Lightweavers are the artsy-fartsy Radiants, and their abilities lead them to being the best spies among the orders. Their ideals focus around the main mantra, I will speak my truth. Their herald is Shalash, the herald of beauty. Also checks out. Lightweavers bond cryptics, and their armor are creation Spren. A bond with a freaky-looking cryptic gives them 2 surges, illumination and transformation. I'll let Zach talk about transformation, but the Lightweaver specialty is illumination. Illumination allows the wielder to craft projections and illusions onto the world around them. For Lightweavers, these illusions are usually projections of their artistic creations, like Shallan sketches of people. This surge is really cool, and with transformation, it also allows for a Lightweaver to give their projections substance. Yeah, they can basically create investiture soldiers. Someone tell Endowment. My favorite Lightweaver is the Prostitute Beryl. Her creative uses of the surge. My real favorite Lightweaver is Hoyd. Yeah, we get Hoyd. Suck it, losers! Speaking of losers, up next is
Elsecallers. We don't need your affirmations, stupid Lightweaver. The Elsecallers are obviously the greatest and most humble of all the orders of Knights Radiant. Their abilities lead them to being incredible tacticians in warfare, and their ideals reflect their drive. I will reach my potential. The Elsecaller patron herald is Batar. She shows her great potential by turning Moash into a radiant killing freak. Elsecallers bond Inkspren, and their armor is made of Logic Spren. Their bond with an Inkspren gives them access to their primary surge of transformation, and also transportation. Transformation is in essence soulcasting. Yasna even hides her radiant surge at first with a soulcaster, but the Elsecaller surge is much more powerful and versatile. This lets the Elsecaller convince the soul of an object to change into one of the 10 essences. These physically become air, smoke, fire, crystal, wood, blood, oil, metal, rock, and meat. I hate how I did that. The wide variety of options makes the soulcasting seem almost infinitely useful. Lightweavers also share this power, but Elsecallers are much more convincing, and overall just much better at everything they do. My favorite Elsecaller is Yasna. Now, I sure don't want to talk about the next order. What about you, Kevin?
I definitely don't want to talk about him. Wait, what's that on the horizon?
It's Dylan from Cosmere Horizons. Let's talk about Willshapers. Wait, why don't you guys want to talk about Willshapers? What's wrong with us? Why does Brandon hate us? Hello, World Hoppers. The Willshapers are the freedom fighters of the Knight Radiant. Their ideals all revolve around the idea, I will seek freedom. They're very opposed to the Skybreakers, as Willshapers worry that the law can easily be oppressive. The Willshaper patron herald is Kalek, the coward. That's fine. Why does Brandon hate us? Willshapers bond to High Spren. They are the glowy little orbs that we see in the form of timber. I think they're really cute. The order has access to the surges of transportation and cohesion, with the primary surge being transportation. Transportation allows individuals to create like tiny little perpendicularities and travel from the physical realm to the cognitive realm and vice versa. However, it's much harder to leave the cognitive realm than it is to leave the physical realm. This is one of the hardest surges for someone to master. Thanks, Zach and Kevin, so much for having me on. Now, let's talk about the order that seems like the kind of people that just wouldn't break.
Thanks, Dylan. Up next, the Stonewards. They are the infantry of the Radiants, and for good reason. They are rock hard. No, literally. The Stonewards mantra is, I will be there when I am needed. No one fits this model better than their own patron herald Tolm. Stonewards bond Peakspren, and their armor is made up of Bindspren. This bond gives them access to the surges of cohesion and tension. The surge of cohesion, actually the surge of strong axial interconnection, is their primary surge, and it's really cool. This surge allows them to change the malleability of substances, messing with the force that binds their very axii together. This surge is incredibly powerful, but like all surges, it has been kept in check with Honor's influence. The Willshaper Venli can even use this surge to speak with the ancient Spren of the Stone. My favorite Stoneward is easily Dami. We see him appear at the Second Battle of Narak and almost single-handedly hold Narak 4. He wields his Spren in the form of a tower shield, and he is notably massive in his plate. Dami's action scenes are chilling and epic. Very, very cool. Speaking of cool,
The Bondsmiths! This order is the most unique and most powerful, though Elsecallers obviously give them a run for their money. They are the core of the Knights Radiant, and there have only ever been as many as 3 among their numbers at a given time. Well, probably. They're united by their oaths and the intent, I will unite. Their herald is Ishar, the one that created the Oath Pact, then broke the Oath Pact, then created the Oath Pact. Bondsmiths bond one of the 3 splinters of honor and cultivation. These are the Stormfather, the Night Watcher, and the Sibling. They may have bonded other things in the past, but they have no armor or shard blade abilities that we know of, or if they do, their Spren really don't want to cooperate. But they do get access to more powers than any of the other orders. Their main surge is tension. This allows the Radiant to manipulate the hardness of an object. In practice, a Radiant using tension allows them to transform something like a tunic into stone-like armor, or wield a rope as a club. We don't really see this used a lot, but it seems pretty cool nonetheless. On the topic, Brandon, please just write more scenes with cool surges. Bondsmiths also get access to unique abilities due to their special Spren bonds. One of these abilities allows them to unite the cognitive, physical, and spiritual realms into a single point, creating a perpendicularity, a split between all of the realms. This allows Bondsmiths a unique access to the spiritual realm, which gets very confusing. Please don't ask. They have some manner of power over connection, which allows them to use the powers of adhesion and tension together to repair entire structures. With connection, they can also do weird voodoo stuff like tie knots with people's spirit ropes. Again, don't ask. My favorite Bondsmith is Dalinar, because that's really the only correct answer here. Now, last but certainly not least,
Windrunners. The Windrunners are the best of the best when it comes to heart and passion. They are the special forces of the Radiance, working closely together to achieve the impossible. Their ideals focused on the idea, I will protect. Aww. They are unique in that their first herald died, and then he died harder. With Yezreen gone, Kaladin Stormblessed has now taken the place as the patron of the Windrunners. Windrunners bond Honor Spren, and their armor is made up of Wind Spren. They share gravitation with the Skybreakers, but their main surge is Adhesion. Honor's surge. Adhesion allows the Windrunner to make things sticky. They can fuse people and objects to surfaces or to each other. Dalinar uses this surge to repair Thaylen City's temples and statues after the Everstorm ravaged them. A very cool gesture. My favorite Windrunner is absolutely the Lopen. He uses his surges and complete absence of Riz to get nowhere with women, but he still manages to protect King Elleccar the first time, and becomes Sigil's right-hand man in Kaladin's absence. Plus, he's hilarious. Now for our theorized 11th Radiant Order.
Whoa, Sule, let's save that for another day. But what do you think? These orders are all clearly quite different, but they all share the common first ideal binding them together. Dragonsteel has released an official Radiant quiz, and if you don't already know which order you're a part of, you need to take it. We'll link it in our pinned comment below. Let us know what order you like best in the comments below. Kolo?